Welcome to the Quarantine Show, keeping you ill-informed of what's going on in and around Sarnia Lambton. He's been in quarantine for so long that apple pie is starting to look up. Here's Richard Head. I don't know where we get this guy, but I'm going to tell you right now, I told your mother we ate it, so anyway. Richard Head here, you can call me Dick. Another week of the Quarantine Show, and lots to get to. Of course, Tim Hortons making some big changes in their staff and policies. We'll get to that in just a few. Also, Doug Ford calls them yahoos. Many people call them COVIDiots. I call them the Flu Klux Klan. So we'll take a look at this week in the Flu Klux Klan and see some of the stupidity happening south of the border. And first, though, last week we mentioned Rebel News on this very program, and somehow, some way, Rebel News actually came to Sarnia. They did a report, or what we call an egregious crime against journalism, and the Quarantine Show has your special report. Richard Head here in Sarnia, Ontario, at the scene of an egregious crime against journalism. Seems just days after mentioning Rebel News on this very program, Dave Menzies of Rebel News came to Sarnia in order to film this hot garbage.
David Menzies for Rebel News here in Sarnia, Ontario. Well, folks, we continue to fight the fines via our fightthefines.com campaign. And today I'm going to bring you the story of Pat McHenry, a citizen getting an $880 ticket for, well, I don't know what for.
Yeah, well, no real big shock there that the Rebel is unaware of facts. Well, since David Menzies can't tell us why he's here, let's allow Pat McHenry to explain.
I brought her out to do her business, and I was out here maybe 5 minutes, 6 minutes. I came back to the back door, and I got to the third door. There were two policemen standing in front of my apartment with masks on, like yourself, and they had the ticket already made out. They whipped it out like Matt Dillon and handed it to me.
The Quarantine Shit Show reached out to Media Relations Officer Giovanni Sotasani to find out if the Sarnia police did in fact engage in Matt Dillon whipping out techniques. And just like many of my dating profiles, no response was given. Now, according to the Sarnia Observer on April 7th, McHenry had been warned previously on March 31st after returning from a trip from Mexico, and a second tip is what led to this current fine. However, McHenry feels the blame lies elsewhere.
I just think that it's the heavy hand of especially our mayor here, our left-wing mayor here in Sarnia, who's a complete lunatic as far as I'm concerned.
In a recent email exchange with Mayor Mike Bradley, the Quarantine Shit Show can confirm that he is in fact not a lunatic after declining to appear on this show. McHenry, though, is certainly thankful for the Rebel excuses help with his legal battle.
I appreciate it just for the simple fact that I can't afford to have a lawyer, but if I had to go to court by myself, I'd still take them on. I might end up in jail for contempt for the way I talk or something. But
so I'd like to make a request under the People's Freedom of Choices and Voices Act that I be able to smoke and swear in your courtroom.
Now, if you would like to donate to Rebels Fight the Fines, we can help you with that. Send your e-transfers to deardickheadadvice@gmail.com because quite clearly, you just don't want your money, and I'll have it. So there you have it, the Rebel skews in town. Sources close to the Quarantine Shit Show still think that this is some form of retaliation for mentioning them on the program, and we'll definitely have to wait and see. Who knows? Maybe they could be my Carol Askin. Wouldn't that be great? Moving on, it was some tensions flared over COVID-19 restrictions during a virtual meeting of Sarnia Council that was streamed online on Monday, and in a stunning and unprecedented move, Nathan Colquhoun actually agrees with Marilyn Gladu on something. Yes, that's right. Wants to open up beaches, boat ramps, and all sorts of other things. And, not really saying that he's necessarily wrong, but definitely thinks that maybe some of the decisions from the control group should be maybe looked at and rehashed. Of course, Mayor Mike Bradley defended the primary control group, saying that they have been working hard for the past 30 days and had not received any input on any of the decisions that were going forward. But if there is one good thing that can come out of this, maybe Nathan Colquhoun and Marilyn Gladu can patch up their torrid relationship. Tim Hortons workers will now be wearing masks and have their temperatures checked before their shift. Of course, many of them hoping that that'll be orally. The chain announced this on Wednesday as the company's chief operating officer, Mike Hancock, said in an email to CBC Toronto that the move is being done to protect not only the customers, but also their staff as well. However, it was mentioned to the Quarantine Show that Tim Hortons is assuring this new policy will not interfere with an old policy of screwing up your coffee order. That's going to do it for the news section of the Quarantine Show. But before we head into the This Week in Flu Klux Klan, we're introducing sports. Yes, that's right, we've got a sports guy. So it's now time for sports. Here's Bob Flemingtonfieldsson.
Thanks, Dick. This is Bob Flemingtonfieldsons with your sports. Back to you, Dick.
Well, that was less than informative. Seems we're going to be looking for a new sports guy. I don't know how the hell we're ever going to get sponsorship with reports like that, but we'll work it out for you. We apologize for that minor inconvenience there. But before we go, a lot of stupidity going on in the world right now under this COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of anti-lockdown sentiment, and many people calling them COVIDiots. Doug Ford referred to them as yahoos. We here at the Quarantine Show, we like to call them the Flu Klux Klan, which brings us to our next segment, This Week in the Flu Klux Klan. Protests and rallies have popped up all over the U.S. and Canada as anti-lockdown sentiments begin to grow. Frontline health workers have been pleading with protesters to disperse and allow them to get to work, including this one in Denver, which is just an absolute defiance of the TLC hit song Scrubs, as this woman is hanging out the side of her best friend's ride trying to holler at a scrub. And finally, we're going to stop in Ohio, where John McDaniel's social media posts went viral after he referred to COVID as the Wuhan flu and said that COVID was a government ploy and that somebody needed to prove him wrong. You may be asking why the posts went viral. These don't seem any different from a lot of what's going on. Well, in a twist that even Steven Crowder couldn't predict, COVID-19 changed John McDaniel's mind as he contracted the virus and died. That's all we've got time for this week. I'm Richard Head, reminding you to stay the home, stay safe, and don't be ingesting the bleach or the Lysol. It's the Ajax you gotta snort. That's what's gonna do it.
Oh, where have you been all my life?
We just come in with.
Oh, if you don't mind.
It's not really.
I'm not wearing any pants.